Imagine that. You get a call, you're like, hello? And then someone that sounds very familiar to you says, hey, Mom, Dad, oh my God, thank God, listen, I'm in trouble. I got into a small accident. My phone's broken. I'm okay. I'm using someone else's phone. I need to transfer some money for repairs. I'll pay you back tonight. I don't want Dad to find out. Yeah, you recognize the voice, like every frantic inflection, every stammer. So it's your son, your daughter, your partner. Your logical brain might see red flags, but your heart, your instincts, everything that makes you human screams, help them. So you send them money. And 10 minutes later, you get a text from your actual loved one asking what you want for dinner. The voice on the phone was never them. It was a machine. Saudi and welcome back to the Funkit Pod, Mindful Media and Communication, the podcast where we put on our theoretical goggles to make sense of the media world that seems determined to break us and our brains at times. And that story from the intro is no longer science fiction. It's happening right now, all over the world. And the old scams, the email from a Nigerian prince, the poorly worded text from the post office, they're dead. They were easy to spot because they were based on bad communication, right? The new scams are based on perfect communication. They use AI to mimic the people we trust most, turning our own senses in relationships against us. And that's not just a tech problem. So I'm not just hating on AI, right? It's a fundamental crisis for interpersonal communication. It's forcing us into a new, more paranoid era that I call the zero trust world. So today we're going to deconstruct how these scams work, what they're doing to our society, and ask the terrifying question: if you can no longer trust your own eyes and ears, how do you trust anyone at all? So to understand the new threat, right, we have to understand that these aren't just tricks. They are targeted attacks on the very foundations of human connection. Let's start with the voice clones, okay? So the technology is now cheap and easy to use. A scammer just needs a few seconds of audio from a public IG story, a TikTok video to create a believable replica, okay? This works because it hijacks one of our oldest communication theories: source credibility. We as people are hardwired to believe that a familiar voice is a credible source. An unknown scammer has zero credibility. But the voice of your child has maximum credibility. So the AI isn't just faking a voice, it's faking decades of trust built into that voice. Then there's this hyper-personalized fish. Not fish. Phishing, right? From phishing. So forget the generic "your account has been compromised" emails. The new fish uses data scraped from your public profiles to craft a message that seems impossibly real. An email from a conference organizer that mentions the actual hotel you just posted a photo from. Yeah, this leverages like a core concept of uncertainty reduction theory. Okay, the theory says we communicate to reduce ambiguity. So when a message contains specific, correct details about your life, it dramatically reduces your uncertainty, right? And it makes you lower your guard. So the scammer creates a false sense of shared context to appear legitimate. Because, again, you think, hey, all those details, I mean, we must know each other. And while those two examples are already crazy enough, the most insidious example probably right now is the long-con AI romance bot, right? Those aren't simple chatbots. They are sophisticated artificial intelligence systems that can maintain relationships for months. They learn your speech patterns, your hopes, your insecurities. And I'm not talking about Grok. Yet they leverage what communication scholar Joseph Walter, like not Walter, but I do this a lot in this episode. Not fish, but fish, not Walter, but Walter. Walther. Okay, so he called it the hyper-personal model. He argued that online relationships can sometimes feel more intense and intimate than real ones. How can it be? Well, he says because the participants, they can carefully manage their self-presentation and idealize their partner. And then an AI bot is the ultimate idealized partner. It's available 24/7. It's endlessly affirming. It has no flaws. It creates a hyper intimate connection before ever asking for a single baht, dollar, whatever. It weaponizes our fundamental need for connection. And that's the very, insidious part about it, because everybody has that need for connection. So all these scams are personal, they're intimate, and they're terrifying. But the damage isn't just individual financial loss. The bigger problem actually is the corrosion of social trust on a massive scale. When these tools become common knowledge, they create a phenomenon that security experts actually call the liar's dividend. What a crazy name. There's even a name for that, right? So and here's how that works. Once enough people know that video and audio can be perfectly faked, a malicious actor can dismiss real authentic evidence as fake news. I mean deep fake. Why would I say that? So imagine this, right? A clear video emerges of a politician taking a bribe. 20 years ago, it's a career-ending scandal. In 2025, the press secretary simply says, that's a sophisticated AI. It's designed to mislead the public. That's a fake. That's not true. And a significant portion of the public will believe it, or at least have enough doubt to dismiss the original video. Like, maybe it's not right. Maybe it's not real. So the liar gets a dividend. So the very possibility of the fake pays out for the real liar. This paralyzes accountability. It erodes the entire concept of evidence-based truth. And on a more personal level, since we're sticking with those liar's dividend and so on a more personal level, this creates a paranoia tax. So-called dividends taxes. Welcome to the Finance Podcast. It's the new cognitive load that we all have to carry. Every unexpected call from a loved one, every urgent email, every new message from a stranger in our account with a sliver of doubt. Then we have to really extra emotional labor of verification, which always adds friction and suspicion to even the most intimate relationships. And that's the real tax. A slow burning erosion of our default instinct to trust each other. So if our old ways of verifying trust, recognizing a voice, seeing a face in a video call, are now fundamentally broken, how do we move forward? We can't just unplug from society. We have to adapt. We need to develop a new and more advanced form of digital literacy. And this new literacy isn't about spotting bad grammar anymore. It's a literacy based on healthy, critical paranoia. It's about understanding the possibility of perfect fakes and changing our communication rituals accordingly. For example, families are now establishing verbal safe words or pre-agreed upon security questions for any urgent financial request over the phone. Like, if I ever call you, ask you for money, first ask me what our dog's name was in 2008. This might sound like something out of a spy movie, but it's a new interpersonal communication ritual born out of a zero trust environment. It's using shared private history to verify authenticity when, sensory evidence is no longer enough. It's crazy to think that this is now part of private personal communication, right? Of course, the real ownership should be on the platforms that allow this technology to proliferate without sufficient safeguards, obviously, but you know what they're going to say. So until they are forced to act, because that's going to be the only way to get some change, the burden falls on us to relearn how to communicate safely. Then in the old world, trust was our default setting. It was a shortcut that made society work. In the new zero trust world, trust is no longer a default. It's an active, conscious process. It's something that must be built and rebuilt with every single interaction, and it's exhausting. It's stressful. And it's the price that we pay right now for living in a world of perfect fakes. Now I'm thinking, how do I prove to you that I'm real while I was saying all this? If you're real, leave a review, leave a like, share this podcast with someone that you think could benefit from hearing all of that. Let me know, how do you handle that? How do you handle those trust issues now? Do you change the way you communicate on a personal level? Yeah, shout out in the comments. Would love to hear it. At FunkyPod on all the socials. Until then, stay safe. Take care. Don't be duped. Keep it real. We talk soon. Sawadee ka.